Hey everybody, this is Custom Mike's here again. Yes, we got interrupted on the live feed, both with some technical difficulties and then because we're in the steel building, the coverage is not very good here, so it got disconnected. I'm going to just continue with the video and you have the two other short snippets that we have on the live portion of Facebook. We weren't able to save the first one, but we are at Keith Dean's South End Kustoms in Hemet, California, and getting a walkthrough of the place, and it is quite exciting. The level of cars you have here and the amount of modification is fantastic. And you know, Keith, why don't we do this? If we can just briefly walk through the front one real quick,
okay.
And we'll come back in here. I'll come out on the other end. Hey Penny.
Yeah.
Hey, Mrs. Dean.
Hey, hey.
Thank you for coming with us today. Sorry for the technical difficulties here, but we'll just start over here. We started over here and then we had little temperature issues, so we'll go a little rapidly here. But there's actually, you got 4 Mercs here. You got one unchopped, one back here, and you got one in progress, one that's waiting for glass, and then a hard top one sitting over there.
Yeah, I've got to do some body work on it.
Yeah. But we're here with actually the master himself, Mr. Keith Dean, or the kid.
I know. Yeah, 61-year-old kid, but that's
yeah,
okay.
That's all right.
That's funny, you know, quick story. Dean Jeffries, who was known as the kid back in the day,
Yeah.
he goes, whatever you do, don't let them call you kid, because you'll be 60 years old and they'll still call you kid.
Yeah, and here we
And
are.
I laughed then.
Yeah.
But I wear it proudly.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yeah. So Keith is probably the master of chopping Mercs, I would say. By now, how many have you chopped? Do you know?
Close to 500.
Close to 500.
Yeah.
I've chopped a few cars, but I probably will never ever come close to that number. That is quite a feat.
I'm trying to catch up to Winfield, you know.
Yeah. How many has he done? Do you think?
He's probably done
He's
700.
93 years old.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
true.
Okay.
Well, that's the next goal.
To still be chopping at 93.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite a contrast there. And then this one's done 5 inches, and the one behind us is done 5 inches too, right?
Yeah, they're both 5 inches.
And then that one ended up being hard topped.
Yeah. Yeah, this was done by my dad back in 1990 or something like that.
Wow.
And the owner just got lost when he just wanted my dad to chop it, and then it just went to his shop and he just lost. So he brought it here to get it finished, so we're gonna
Fantastic.
finish it up.
Yeah. In the other video, we talked about using a G body or a mid-size GM Olds Pontiac Buick.
Yeah.
As a perfect
Donor
for a Mercury.
Yeah.
So
one good thing is when you chop the car, instead of having the flat floor, these floors are dipped.
Yeah.
So the seats sit down lower, and they're foam seats, not spring seats. So taller people
Yeah.
can sit there with their head straight up in a chopped car. So it's really nice.
Big difference.
Yeah.
I know that when I chopped the Mini Merc, my head was rubbing all the time,
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly. My dad used to laugh. He would say, you know, I need to buy a helmet that I can give to the customer the first time they get into the car, because the first thing they do is whack.
Funny. So here we are. I gave you a little bit of brief overview of the domain, so to say, the sacred domain of chop tops. But we'll start with the movie car here. And let's see, what movie did we say it was in?
This was from Demolition Man.
The Demolition Man,
One
huh?
of the cars that they used in Demolition Man. That was Sylvester Stallone, Sandra Bullock, and Wesley Snipes were the main characters in the thing. And so the customer that I have got a hold of it out of a amusement park, and we're putting it back together. We're going to use a EV West system, which is their electrical system for Volkswagens, and set this up so that it'll be an electric car with all this stuff, and we'll restore it up to the movie quality as far as it'll look like a police car back then. And so that's what we're doing. And one of the things I was showing is that they in the movie, what they did is they went to GM and asked for their concept cars. They wanted to borrow their concept cars. And so this was one of the concept cars that GM had at the time, and so they made it a police car. And So it's kind of cool. It's still ahead of its time in a lot of things. Like I say, the one-sided door. They're just starting to explore that now in a couple of production cars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you got a wonderful array of art in here too.
Yeah, I decided to put up some of the stuff that was hanging around the shop and just put it up on the wall. And a lot of movies that either my dad or I were involved in. Some of the goofy ones. The car. A good friend of ours, Dennis Braid, built the original, but he didn't build the. They needed some stunt cars, so we built the fiberglass stunt bodies that they used to crash up. And then on Death Race 2000, that was Dean Jeffries that did the main cars. He got the contract, but he hired my dad in because he knew how quick he was in building stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they put a bunch of the cars together in there, and then of course Munster Go Home. That was with my dad's time with George Barris, putting together the Dragula and the Munster coach. So that's always close to my heart. And then,
yeah, I remember seeing that in several magazines.
yeah, my dad drew that. My dad was a great artist in high school.
Yeah.
And he was their paper's cartoonist. And so he did this in probably 73 or 74.
Wow.
And before everybody in the industry knew him. But he created this cartoon, and then everybody knew him. It was probably the first time that I'd seen him where he could walk someplace and everyone knew him from that cartoon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of an homage to him. You know, I always love that. You know, if you talk to them, they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing that guy chopping a car."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I remember one of the articles that I saw early on in my life was, I'm going to come around you there.
Yeah.
Was the when he put one of the first A bodies under a Mercury.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 80s.
Yep.
And
that's what I say when they were available.
yeah, and it was just such a big deal at the time, you know,
yeah.
and everybody was oohing on. I think it was one of those rolled into Paso one year, and it was like, you know, your mind was blown, you know. So, yeah, there's just so much art, so many cool things. What's the story on the mention my name and I'll get you a seat?
Oh, well, we put this up at my dad's memorial when he passed away, and so we had everyone at the memorial sign it. And the mention my name is just, my dad was a tongue-in-cheek guy. He always come up with crazy things, and one of the things he used to say is, if you were going to the restroom, he goes, "Well, mention my name, you know, you'll get a good seat." So that was just my dad's joke.
Yeah.
And so we decided to put it on a board and have everybody sign it. And so it was
very cool. So what do we got here?
Well, this one right here is a 40.
I better move this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that one in a little bit.
This is a 49 Mercury.
Ooh, look at that.
It belongs to Marky Marino, and we're working on this. I didn't do the chop, but what we're doing is finishing the windows, and the things I did were the Olds headlight fronts. I've done these for Rick Dorr, and they've become really popular.
Yeah.
And then we put the DeSoto pan on. He's got all the teeth. He's going to run the Mercury up front, but no badge, and then he's running the side trim. We set it up for Lincoln buttons, so he's going to have Lincoln buttons.
Oh, nice.
And then we did the full fadeaway on the
Oh, yeah.
and flush skirts.
So the fadeaway is just when the fender just, instead of having the dip right here.
Yeah, normally the Mercury is known for its dip right here. And
Yeah.
And what you do is you pull that away, and it changes the profile of the car a little bit.
Yeah, it just makes this wall, it gives the almost a waterfall effect,
Exactly.
a long sloping waterfall. A lot of nice touches too on this one, the hood gaps.
Yeah, the little radius. This is a lot of people when they radius their hood corners, they'll bring it up through here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that attaches the fender to the cowl.
Yeah.
And so this fender is still removable. So if you're in an accident or whatever like that, it
Yep.
can be easily taken care of.
There's so many ways of doing all of the lift,
well,
different
there's
ways.
another thing too. It's a styling line. Is that in designing and styling, you want as few lines as possible. As far as brake lines, as far as that's why I like to do some of the skirts, like this one right here. This is a 50 Chevy. If you notice that normally a 50 Chevy skirt is that big,
Yeah.
just enough to get the tire out. Well, you build this beautiful quarter, and you've got a line running right down the middle of it.
Just ruin it.
What I've done is I've extended the line so that it goes up behind the bumper, and it flows with the car, so it's not noticeable.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And also probably make it easier to get the tire out too.
Yeah, exactly. This is John Saltzman's Lincoln. My dad had chopped this a long time ago, and Bill Hines had worked on it.
Yeah.
But one of the things, he put airbags on it, and he got a flat tire.
Uh-huh.
There's no way to get the tire off.
I know.
So what we're going to do is, we were talking about it a little bit like the Golden Sahara, that the quarters will hinge up.
Okay.
So access.
Yeah. I remember I don't know if you know the blue 62 T-Bird that I cruised around in for a little while.
Yeah.
That's chopped and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was John Lemoyne's old one. Yeah. And yeah, we got a flat on that one when we had it in the shop. And literally I had to pull the shocks, loosen the bag, tilt it up on the side, let the air out of the tire, and then wiggle it out in between.
I've seen these guys, some guys have to jack the car all the way up, basically disassemble the rear end.
Yes.
And drop it out just to get the tire off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dedication, but you know, could be an easier way.
Just to get that car as low as possible too. They ran the pipes under the axle.
Oh, you're perfect.
So it's like you know,
it was the pipes off.
Yeah. I didn't want to, so that's why we wiggled it out instead. So
we had to do that on the 5.
Yeah.
Almost take the rear end out to get the tire off.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. And then they said, we'll put airbags on it. You won't have to do that no more. Even with the airbags, we still got to drop it down to get the tire off.
Yeah. So this one was chopped when?
When my dad chopped it?
It was 98.
98, huh? Wow. Can't wait to see this one on the road.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Dick called me and he says, "What's going on with the Lincoln?" I said, "Well, it's in the garage." He says, "Well," he says, "Bring it over. I'm going to chop it." I said, "Well, I'm waiting on Bill to chop it," and he says, "Well, I talked to Mr. Hines, and Mr. Hines says it's okay if I chop it." And I go, "Okay, Dick, whichever." He says, "I want it here tomorrow." He says, "Does it run?" I said, "No, it rose." He says, "Okay, get it here."
Yeah.
So I pull it in. We get inside the shop, and Dick says, "Okay, what's your ideas on the car?" I said, "Well, I was thinking." He said, "Okay, that's it. Stop right there." He says, "There's 2 ways we can go. My way or the highway. Which way sounds good?" And I said, "Okay, your way, Dick." He said, "Okay." He says, "It's Friday night." He says, "By Monday morning, I want 54 Kaiser taillights here at the shop." Which, you know, is easy to pull off.
Yeah, in the weekend.
Yeah, back in the 90s when, you know, there's not so much of the computer
no internet,
stuff
internet
going
search.
on. But Merc John had it set, and so we was able to get them from Merc John.
Wow.
2 4-door Lincolns and a set of pot skirts, and I got my tail lights.
That's fantastic.
But I have no regrets.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I wouldn't either. I mean, this thing is it's incredible. Can't wait to see this. Actually, you know, I'm going to have to ride shotgun one of these days, you know. I'm counting on that one.
Yeah. You see he's got the swivel buckets in there.
Yeah.
Definitely old school.
Yeah, well, John wouldn't be any other way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Can't wait. Massive dash, too. So, you showed me the deluxe magazine, too. Here, let me give you a shot of it.
Yeah, this is the newest one that just came out.
Yeah.
This is the August version. So I've got 2 features in here and a builder's feature. So kind of cool. See, this is the one we finished up in January.
Yeah.
This is the Panama. This is a reproduction of the original car that was built in '83 is when we originally did it.
Yeah.
And so, and this is the feature article, which really turned out great.
Yeah.
You know, I got to talk. Oh.
Everything's not working today, huh? All right, we're getting it back over here. Little technical difficulties. It doesn't like getting up. There we go.
I'll lean it down.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, it allowed me to talk a little bit about my dad and how much influence he had with me and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And then we get all the way to the back. And let's see if I can find it. And then we have
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Shipwreck.
This thing is so cool.
Now this is on a chassis change again.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do anything. He bought this way. And everyone's like, well, are you going to restore it? He goes, no. He said, back in the 60s, this is what they looked like.
Yeah.
Nobody had $150,000 Woody.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they drove it. They used what they had.
Exactly. Yeah, you got the one fly that wants to.
Yeah.
Alive.
Well, it looked like it was a bee or something for
Probably.
a second there. But
You never know.
very cool. So, yeah, I guess today is technical difficulty day. You know.
Well, that's good.
You know what? I'd take any day with technical difficulties at South End Customs than anything else, you know? So, what's the story on this guy right here?
Well, this is a 50 Chevy sedanette.
It doesn't look like a 50 Chevy.
Well, yeah, it's got a little tweaking going on.
Yeah.
We did the Cadillac taillights, chop top. It's going to be a hard top. We got a power tilt front end or hood, and then we're going to do a Thunderbird interior, custom dash.
Yeah, I can see the wraparound there. You see
Yeah.
the base of the seats, the wraparound seats, and the console that comes up in the center back here.
Yeah,
That's a really cool interior.
and then I've coved the fenders and
yeah.
in the door, so it's going to have that Corvette feel.
Yeah, that's a really cool
Side.
feature.
And then we're running a Corvette, early Corvette grill in the front.
Yeah. So here we're also we're talking about a G-body frame.
Yeah.
And you can see how much, that's what, 4-inch channel?
Yeah, 4-inch channel.
So that's actually the frame rail of the car being covered in, so to say. And you got the floor and chassis and everything off of the G-body to make this car a really nice driver. And you're doing the Olds headlights and stuff on this one too?
Olds headlights on this one and the 56 Corvette grill.
Okay.
And then we've got 62 Corvette, 58 Corvette bumper ends that are modified. They'll be wraparound. And then this is what we did for the interior trim.
Yeah, that's impressive right there.
This will go up and lock in the window. One of the things we did too for this car, I do it for a lot of cars, is it's got a fiberglass headliner.
Oh, okay.
And what I do is once I'm done chopping it and I'll seal it, I cover it in fiberglass.
Okay.
Pull a thin skin off of it.
Okay.
Well, it's the right shape. If you look inside, it lifts the headliner another 2 inches
Oh, yeah.
compared to a bow.
Yeah. So you
And
get extra headroom.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the GM or late model cars that cover their material on a foam card and then pop it in. Well, this is a little more rigid. What's funny about this, everyone's freaking out when I do this because it's so big.
Yeah.
How are you going to get it in the car?
Well,
It's thin enough, you roll it up and put it in there and let it go and it pops up in place. So it works out great.
cool. Let's see a little bit about your office
All
too.
right. We can go inside.
You know, there's so much to see in here and around everywhere, and I highly recommend to come here and experience it by yourself. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this too, and we'll show you some more, but he has 2 of these bodies, right?
Yeah, and there were only 2 ever made.
Huh, so you have number 1 and 2 of number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that's also where that frame jig comes in that you had out there.
I have to make a new pan for it, and so
Yeah.
we're going to use that.
And then here's a model.
Yeah,
of
it was designed by our friend Tom Daniel, and then Revell made it into a model.
Wow.
And, but the gold, the one that's outside that I'll show you, was the gold one that they drew from.
Wow.
That was it.
Yeah, there's so much to see in here and so many things to experience, and just telling the history of Dean and his dad is incredible. I mean, we have Hall of Fame plaques all over, and I got to mention this, that the VW that
oh, my squareback,
his squareback is a very well designed squareback, especially for its time. It was like ahead of the game, so to say, when you built that.
I wanted to do something different. I thought about the standard just chop straight down, and I'm like, I'm going to do something different. And I told my dad about it, and he's like, okay, well, give it a try. He hadn't done one like that before either. So he was impressed at least. So
Well, it was cool too. But I mean, it also led to, and when I posted quite a few teasers about doing the show here today. And one of the guys that commented, and I forget his name. I'm sorry.
Ace from I think he's Alabama or something.
Yeah, he was telling a long story about how he tried to make one similar to what Dean was doing, or what Keith was doing, and he got himself into a little bit of trouble, and he communicated with Keith, and he was just blown away that Keith took the time to help him and get him set on the right track, and but those are the kind of stories that kind of gives people a feel about what you're really all about.
I appreciate being known, when I go someplace that hey, my work is this, it's good enough to be acknowledged. But I'm not one of those guys that, wouldn't take your phone call. I'm not above that. So.
Well, I mean, now this speaks for itself too, Builder of the Year, it's, I'm just, I'm in awe. I'm actually just being here and hanging out.
This is a funny story right here. That's my dad laying in the back of a van. In the 70s, he used to chop vans, but he had to do it by himself.
Okay.
So what he would do, he would stack up milk crates up to the roof of the to the van.
Yeah.
And then as he would cut, he would knock the crates out, and it would get lower and lower and lower, so he could do it by himself.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and you did some of these Ghostbuster ones too, huh?
Yeah, this is just a mock-up model I used for reference, but yeah, I've done 2 of these, and one of them went to Chicago to the Volvo Auto Museum, and Dan Aykroyd was at an event where the car was, and it was great that he said that car was the best representation of the original that he had ever seen. So
wow,
I appreciate that. That's what I strive for.
That's endorsement right there.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of these things, like I'll do a Munster coach or a Dragula or something like that, and I really strive to get it as close so that when people see it, they're in 1966.
Yep.
That's what I want. I want them to be there, and
that's just so cool. Got yourself a little project there, huh? With the trophy.
Yeah.
He took the trophy apart a little bit. So sorry about that, Keith.
Well, I'll talk to Daryl about that. Tell him
Yeah.
to give me another one.
So, yeah. Oh, there it is right there.
Yeah, that's what they call the number 2.
Number 2?
Only
Okay.
because George actually commissioned us to build it. And you can see right there it says, Resurrected by Keith Dean. You put that on there. I always appreciated that.
That's very nice. Nicely done.
Yeah, and it was funny. The funny story on that was that George had sold the original at his 84 auction. And his wife wanted to go to the Hollywood Christmas parade. And they didn't have anything to drive because George sold everything. So he commissioned my dad to build the Munster 2. And we only had a couple months to do it and stuff like that. And now it's actually been around longer than the original, or as far as working.
Yeah.
It's been working longer than the original.
Wow.
Kind of cool.
All right, so here we actually got this. You said this was number 1?
Yeah, this is the number 1 Super Safari. This is the real deal here.
The real deal.
Yeah, somebody had painted it kind of a reddish orange, but that's what I'm doing right now is scraping off the paint because it's kind of bad.
Yeah.
Underneath is the original gold paint.
Wow. And then number 2 of the only 2 is actually sitting over there.
Yeah, that's the number 2. That one was raced in the Baja 1000 in 1968.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, there's enough to see here on the outside, probably for another trip back here.
Yeah, there's some projects going on here.
Projects are good, right?
Yeah.
So we showed you the hardtop trim. He actually has one over here that's finished. And I figured I'd give you a chance to show that off too. That's quite a piece right there.
Yeah.
To fit into a hardtop car. Makes for a beautiful inside though,
Yeah,
totally uninterrupted. And
exactly. Yeah, and the screw mounts, I probably could have eliminated half of them, but sometimes if you put the screws in the right place, it actually accents, and so that's what we're kind of hoping to do.
For sure. So then we have actually
project.
The
the secret project from Restoration Garage, which I roped you into an episode of that.
Yep.
They've got this going on, and so they're doing a continuation of the show, and so we're saving that for their show.
Yep.
But
yeah, we can't say anything about it, but
yeah.
you know, watch Restoration Garage to see more once
There
that
you
comes
go.
out. You know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. You guys had a lot of good ideas when I got to hang out with you guys at Pomona
Exactly.
Swap Meet and have some fun figuring out what's going on. Radcad.
Yeah, this is 49 Cadillac. The owner actually suicided the doors himself, so I'm kind of impressed. He had built all the substructure and stuff. So my job was to chop the top, and I did the skirt lines like we were talking about on the 50.
Oh yeah.
I did this
Let me
on
do
49. The same thing is that when the molding is on the side, you'll never see that structure line except for that one drop in the front. The
Wow.
back is covered up by the bumper. And
Yeah, and that's kind of harmonizing with the rest of the
Exactly.
of the fenders. I love these fastback style chops,
yeah.
but they're a lot of work, aren't they?
I've done enough of them where this one's actually the best one I've done. It's really flowed out really well.
But you cut all the way into the trunk lid, right? Yeah.
I splice it. There's two rules of how to do this. Some people will cut right here and drop the trunk line and everything down so that this trunk line is now down at the pan. It creates a real deep dish, and some people like that because it accents the fins. But it is a pain in the rear to make all that metal work in that dish on the contour.
Yeah.
So I like to do this style.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit easier overall. And I think it comes out better when you take the big hump out of the trunk lid.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You know, you're looking for a sleeker profile, and you don't really want to end with a fat profile in the end. So.
Well, that was the customer's biggest thing. He saw other things online, and he's like, "That's the only thing I don't want. I don't want a hump in the back." I'm like, "Okay, I don't have a problem with that."
Beautiful. Now, what do we got up there?
This is a fuselage from a BD-5 airplane, which was an experimental airplane of the 70s. And they had a couple that flew. They actually had some in jet form. But the FAA grounded the propeller ones because of stability problems. So my dad got a hold of this fuselage and was going to make a Bonneville car out of it. He just never got time to finish the chassis. So
What dreams may we have,
exactly. So, I mean, in his honor, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was going to make a 3-wheel because he says when you go to Bonneville, you have to pick your class.
Okay.
You just don't show up with a 32 Ford thinking you're going to get a record because there's just,
Yeah.
every half second there's a record for, a 32 Ford. So he says you got to pick what you race and if you want to get a record or get your name in the book. So he was going to make this a 3-wheel streamliner with he was running at the time a GSX 1100 motor.
Okay.
So that would have put him in a classification where he had a fighting chance to at least get his name on there. So
It's great looking.
Yeah.
I would love to see that done.
yeah.
Cool. And then we got another American here, but this one a Mordor.
Yeah.
So this one's for the Mordor crowd.
Yeah, this guy's a family guy, so he really enjoyed, he really loved this concept. Now, everybody has been taking 4 doors and extending them into 2 doors and then filling up the quarters and stuff. Well, my idea was to not do that, is to extend the door so you get that look, but leave the back door. So I can show you on the other side, because this side's welded up for stability.
Yeah, we'll come around.
What you do is front door will open in the 2-door length. The back door opens just as the standard.
That's fantastic.
And then you eliminate the B-pillar post.
It makes it real easy to get in and out for the family. And
yeah, you can hop right in there. This guy has kids. I mean, it's so much easier to get in and out.
Yeah, and you have full access to the whole car with no pillar. That's kind of I have a 48 pack at Hearst.
Oh yeah.
And it's the same way, but the doors are like a mile long each.
Yeah, because when you get the 4 doors, they're always the front door is always progressively shorter.
Yeah.
Give the back some more room. So I did one of these for a friend of mine in a hardtop version, so this will be a post version, and so kind of like it.
Yeah. And you know what? It's just a little tinkering, a cutting, a little welding, and come up with some good ideas, and
Yeah.
and just roll with it. So.
By doing it that way, you leave the quarter windows long
Uh-huh.
and make it look proportion-wise.
Yes.
When
Otherwise,
it's
if
all
you didn't
shut
do
up
that,
and
the
done
quarter
and
windows
painted
would
and
be too
everything,
short,
it's going to look like a
and
coupe.
then there would be no proportion.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really appreciate you guys pushing through at my technical difficulties.
Well, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, and I'll try to stitch it together. There'll be a few videos, you know, but I'll upload this one both to Facebook and YouTube and everywhere, you
Yeah.
know.
Awesome.
But it's been a pure pleasure to come around. I hope I have the opportunity to come back.
Yeah, I've got some more projects in the works that you might be interested in. Another coach build, and you know.
I'd love to come back and take another look and shoot some more video and give our audience another taste of Mr. Dean and company. So thanks again.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. Love you all. Have a great day. Appreciate you guys hanging at Custom Mics. See ya.